In the hallowed halls of justice, where every word can tip the scales, Sarah, a black woman with eyes that held both fire and fatigue, stood before the bench. She was there not as a defendant, but as a witness, a voice for a neighbor entangled in a landlord dispute. The air in the courtroom was thick with tension, a silent storm brewing. As Sarah spoke, her voice clear and steady, a bailiff approached her. "Ma'am, you need to lower your voice," he whispered, his tone edged with impatience. Sarah, surprised, simply replied, "I'm just speaking clearly for the record, sir." What happened next sent a shockwave through the room. The bailiff, feeling his authority challenged, slapped her. Gasps echoed off the polished wood. The words seemed to stop. Sarah stood, stunned, the sting on her cheek a burning symbol of injustice. Silence descended, heavy and suffocating. The judge, an older man with a weary expression, banged his gavel, but the sound was hollow, lost in the palpable shock. All eyes were on Sarah. Her cheek was red, her eyes wide with disbelief, not just at the physical blow, but at the audacity of it happening in a place meant to uphold fairness. The bailiff stood his ground, a smirk playing on his lips, confident in his uniform. The judge looked from the bailiff to Sarah, then to the stunned faces in the jury box. The cogs of justice had not just stalled. They had shattered. For a moment, it felt as if the very foundations of the courtroom were about to crumble under the weight of this single violent act. But then something shifted. The judge, Judge Albright, a man known for his stern but fair demeanor, slowly rose from his seat. His face, usually a mask of judicial impartiality, was now a canvas of disbelief and anger. He pointed a trembling finger at the bailiff. "Officer, remove yourself from my courtroom. Now." The command cracked like a whip. The bailiff's smirk vanished, replaced by confusion. As two other officers escorted him out, Judge Albright's gaze fell on Sarah. He saw not just a victim, but a woman of incredible strength, standing tall amidst the chaos. He saw the resilience that had brought her there to fight for someone else. In that instant, he made a decision that would defy all convention. "Miss Johnson," Judge Albright's voice resonated through the now silent room. "Please approach the bench." Hesitantly, Sarah walked forward, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. The entire room held its breath. What was happening? When she reached the imposing wooden structure, Judge Albright did something no one could have predicted. He stepped down from his elevated platform. He walked around the bench and stood before her, his eyes meeting hers with a look of profound apology and respect. "What happened to you today," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "is a stain on this institution. It is unacceptable." He then gestured towards the empty, imposing leather chair behind the bench. "For the remainder of this session," Judge Albright announced, his voice ringing with conviction, "I am inviting you, Miss Johnson, to take my seat." A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom. It was an unprecedented, almost unbelievable gesture. Sarah stared at him, then at the chair, the seat of power, the symbol of the very system that had just failed her so spectacularly. It felt like a dream. Taking the judge's seat? It was unheard of. But the judge's expression was earnest, unwavering. He was offering not just a seat, but a statement. A powerful, undeniable statement that justice must not only be blind but must also have a conscience. Slowly, as if moving through water, Sarah walked up the steps and sat in the judge's chair. The leather was cool against her back. From this new vantage point, the courtroom looked entirely different. She saw the faces of the jury, the lawyers, the public all looking up at her. For the first time, she felt the weight and the power of that position. Judge Albright stood beside her, not as a superior, but as an equal, an ally. He turned to the courtroom. "Let this be a lesson to all of us," he declared. "Justice is not about the robe or the gavel. It is about dignity, respect, and the unwavering belief that every single person who enters this room deserves to be heard and treated with honor." In that moment, Sarah wasn't just Sarah Johnson, a witness in a minor dispute. She was a symbol. a symbol of resilience, of dignity in the face of indignity. Sitting in that chair, she represented every person who had ever felt small or silenced by a system meant to protect them. The act of violence intended to humiliate her had, through an unexpected act of profound empathy, elevated her. The slap had been an attempt to put her in her place, but instead, it had put her in the highest seat in the room. It was a powerful visual reversal of fortune, a testament to the idea that true power lies not in force, but in compassion. The story of that day in Judge Albright's courtroom spread like wildfire. It became a local legend, a tale of how one judge's extraordinary act of humility and one woman's quiet strength turned a moment of disgrace into a powerful lesson in justice. Sarah Johnson didn't become a judge overnight, but she did become a powerful community advocate, inspired by the knowledge that even in the darkest moments, a single act of kindness can illuminate the path forward. Judge Albright's decision was a reminder that the law is not just a set of rules, but a living, breathing entity that is at its best when guided by the human heart. That day, justice wasn't just served. It was redeemed, leaving everyone who witnessed it with a renewed sense of hope. Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring content. We'll see you in the next video.